use that. Why? That's mommy's. Use this if you want to smell like that tea.
You never had to question if you were a man, so why give your money to a corporation that doesn't know if their products are made for men? Try Jeremy Razor's hair and body products. Jeremy shampoo and conditioner are made with tea tree oil to naturally clean and restore your hair and scalp, argan oil to soften your hair and not your masculinity, and aloe vera to moisturize the hair and scalp. It's all paraben-free, sulfate-free, phthalate-free, and most importantly, 100% woke-free. Not to mention, it smells amazing. Go to jeremyrazors.com and use my special code BURNS15 to save 15% off. That's jeremyrazors.com. Use my special code BURNS15 to save 15% off. Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of Business Talks. I am your host, Chawanne Burns. In today's episode, we are going to talk about Joe Biden. Joe Biden, he has a response to the soldiers that were killed in Jordan a couple of days ago. Actually, early yesterday, 3 soldiers lost their life in Jordan due to a drone strike. So he had a response. He just gave this response going on his helicopter or, Air Force One. And so we're going to discuss that. Also, Cori Bush, your girl's been under investigation. Well, the committee for ethics committee for, your funds or whatever, for campaign funds, the campaign finance committee, Lord have mercy, my brain is gone. The campaign finance committee wrote Cori Bush last year, and I covered this a lot on my channel, where they wanted to investigate her spending in her security detail. Now, Cori Bush, she's been in office for about 3 to 4 years. And in that time, she has spent a whopping $700,000 on security detail. And some of those payments were going to her security person. And she ended up marrying this security person. So they wanted to investigate to see if she was misusing this security fund. And now apparently she didn't give them the right paperwork, or they received the right paperwork and they want to further investigate her. So the Department of Justice is investigating Cori Bush. So we will talk about that more today and other things on today's episode of Business Talks.
Something like this. Looks a little bit like I can't miss. Hey, this is what you call a bad. What? This is what you call a bad. Looks a little something like this. Looks a little bit like I can't miss. Hey, this is what you call a bad. What? This is what you call a bad.
Yes, you guys put in the chat. Let me know where you're viewing from. I appreciate every single last one of you. We have Carolyn Cruz in the house. Thank you, Carolyn, for tuning in. So we're just going to get into it. Joe Biden was going to his helicopter, and he had a response. I guess the reporter was asking them, do you see us in a war? And Joe Biden had a response to the reporter. Let me just share this tab with you. Before I start talking about this response, I just want to highlight the 3 military service men that lost their life. Actually, it's 2 servicemen and 1 service woman that actually gave their life so we could have freedom. So 3 reserve soldiers from Fort Moore killed in a drone attack at Jordan base. Okay, so I wanted to just let you guys know who they were and put these pictures up of, put a face to a name. And it was Army Sergeant William Jerome Rivers. I believe he was 47. Specialist Kennedy Landon Sanders. and Specialist Brianna Alexandria Moffitt. And Rivers was 46, Saunders was 24, and Moffitt was a young age of 23. So we want to pay our respects that they lost their lives in this drone attack. Now, it is saying that they were based out of Georgia. And the Pentagon, okay, so they said the 3 U.S. service members killed in one-way drone strike in Jordan, where Army reservists from Georgia, the Pentagon said. The soldiers were assigned to the 718th Engineer Company, 926th Engineer Battalion, and 926th Engineer Brigade base at Fort Moore, Georgia. Okay, the soldiers' death have left an indelible mark on the United States Army Reserves. I share the sorrow felt by their friends, family, and loved ones. Their service and sacrifice will not be forgotten, and we are committed to supporting those left behind in the wake of this tragedy. And this was from Lieutenant General Jody Daniels. He's an Army Reserve top general. It says Pentagon officials says that the Iran-backed militia was responsible for the drone strike. Pentagon spokeswoman Sabrina Singh declined to say specifically which militia launched the drone, but said it was one backed by Iran's Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps, an elite unit of Iran's armed forces that supports terrorist groups and anti-American militants in Iraq and Syria. The drone struck Tower 22, a logistics support base in Jordan, along the Syrian border, where U.S. forces support the decade-old Operation Inherent Resolve, a mission to ensure the defeat of Islamic State. So they've been stationed over there for quite some time. Not necessarily these reservists, but they've been over there for quite some time. And it's a tragic, it's actually tragedy that this had happened. But I believe that, hopefully their deaths didn't go in vain. Okay, so I'm not going to read the whole insert, but there you have it. We have 3 reservists that were attacked, or they lost their lives in a drone attack. Okay, so we want to pay our respects to them and our condolences to their family. Okay, so Joe Biden did have a response for that, and he's saying that it doesn't, they're trying to figure out who is really responsible for it. He knows who's responsible for it, but he's not trying to see another war. And this is what Joe Biden had to say. It says, President Joe Biden says he has decided how the U.S. will respond to the drone strike that killed 3 American troops in Jordan at the weekend. Now, 16 hours prior to this, they were saying the response will be firm and quick. Now, it sounds like he is backtracking on what they're saying. I'm not for sure what they're thinking, but of course, they're not going to give us information. People are looking to say, okay, what's your plan of attack? Why would they put that on the news, people? So why would you ask them what's their plan of attack? They're not going to put that on the news. Okay. And they're not going to tell you when, where, and how. They're not going to do that, because it won't be an attack if they don't catch them by the element of surprise. Now, let me just play this for you. Then I have something to say about this.
Yes. President, do you hold Iran responsible for the death of those 2 Americans?
I do hold them responsible in the sense that they're supplying the weapons to the people who did it.
But directly responsible.
We'll have that discussion. I don't think we need a wider war in the Middle East. That's not what I'm looking for.
So he is saying Iran supplies the guns and all the warfare material, but he doesn't hold them directly responsible. The person that funds the actual war, you don't hold them responsible. This is an odd relationship between Joe Biden and Iran. You guys, you don't see the connection here. Remember, this was back maybe in October when they released U.S. Released $6 billion. They released $6 billion for a U.S. prisoner swap. This was back in November, okay? Oh, no, it was October, I believe. We froze some money, $6 billion worth of money. And we wanted a prisoner. Not only that, we released some prisoners too. So it was a really bad deal all the way around. I believe we released 5 or 6 some odd prisoners. We also gave them access to this $6 billion. We put stipulations on it. Oh, they only could use it for humanitarian aid. Well, who says they're going to use it for humanitarian aid? You release $6 billion. The stuff that they're spending on humanitarian aid, they just funnel that money to fund their war against us, because Iranians do not like Americans. So it's really odd for him to say that he's not holding them directly responsible. Well, who do you hold responsible? These militia groups or terrorist groups, they are funded through some larger source of government entity. And we know Iran supplies these active terrorist groups within the Middle East. We already know that. So who do you hold responsible? It's really kind of odd for me to hear him say that. And just 16 hours prior to that, he was saying that their response is going to be really quick and swift. I just want to pull that up for you, because I know I'm not crazy. CNN Politics. This was posted yesterday evening. Biden's response to Jordan attack is likely to be powerful, but U.S. is wary of triggering a wider war with Iran, official says. Well, Iran is already in the war with us. They're already in the war. We're putting a cover on our face like, oh, I don't see it. If I don't take the cover off, then I'm not in the actual war. It's like, come on now, are we children? Like, open up your eyes. We're already in a war. And reason why we're already in a war is because we're funding Israel on their crusade to eradicate or take out the Hamas terrorist group. And then we said, oh, we want you to take out the Hamas terrorist group, but Israel, they've taken out everybody. They don't care. They're taking out everybody. And we're saying, oh, we need to provide aid to the Palestinians. Well, how are you going to differentiate the Palestinians from the Hamas terrorist group? Because Israel's not. They saying anybody over there, they getting it. So Israel's not doing that. And we still have people that's being held hostage. Nobody's talking about that. They have not released all the Americans and all the Israels, or Israelites, do you call them Israelites, or Israelis, from Palestinians or Palestine or Gaza, the Gaza Strip. They haven't released them. So nobody's talking about that. Everybody got this damn cover over their face like, oh, we're not in the war. No, Joe Biden we're in this war, whether we like it or not, because of Joe Biden. This is all Joe Biden's doing. You might not like that, but who else is it doing? He's the president of the United States. And you're trying to stand behind, what is it? The Iranian, not the Iranian, but the Israeli government. You're giving them aid. So that's a slap in Iran is saying, oh, you're giving them aid. So you're an immediate threat. So if Iran looks to you as an immediate threat, why wouldn't you look to Iran as an immediate threat? Because they're giving aid to the very terrorist groups that's committing drone strikes on your soldiers. What is this? I mean, do we have to draw the dots for Joe Biden? What's going on? So, and this says the U.S. response to the drone attack in Jordan that killed the wounded U.S. service members on Sunday is likely to be more powerful than the previous American retaliatory strikes in Iraq and Syria, official says. And this is from the Pentagon. Being careful not to telegraph the administration plans. Okay, they're not going to tell us what's the administration plans, but they did respond. Remember, they had a drone strike in Syria and in Iraq. Was it in Syria or Iraq? But wherever it was, and we attacked them. So we're going tit for tat. We don't want a wider war, but we're in this. So I don't understand. Joe Biden is senile right now. He's walking around with this cover over his head. Shit is raining around us and you just ignoring the shit. I just don't understand what is going on with him. Now, and you don't have fans. You know, Joy Reid just got caught cursing on live air. Let me play this for you. Joy Reid, she drops a F-bomb and they caught her on live air.
You deserve to feel safe with the confidence that you're
down. MSNBC Joy Reid drops a F-bomb in hot mic moments, seemingly blasting Biden, starting another effing war. Your Democrats or progressive people are not happy with you, Joe Biden. They're not happy with you. Let me play this for you. It's very short, but I'll play it for you.
The weekend, President Biden said he's ready to take action if Congress is serious about solving the border issue.
If that bill were the law today, I'd shut down the border right now and fix it quickly. And Congress needs to get it done.
Starting another war. Still trying to kill the deal. He bragged about blocking progress and said, please blame him if it fails.
Did you hear that? Let me play it again. I'll rewind it.
Needs to get it done.
Starting another war.
If that bill were the law today, I'd shut down the border right now and fix it quickly. And Congress needs to get it done.
Starting another war. Still trying to kill the deal. He bragged about blocking progress and said, please blame him if it fails.
It says starting another effing war on a hot mic before a brief pause. The context of her statement remains unclear. What do you mean the context of her statement? Yeah, you don't want to shut. This is cynical or cynical. Is it cynical? Being cynical of a person. You saying he's talking about one subject. Oh, we're going to get it done. This is what we're going to do. And she was like, yeah, what you going to do is start a effing war. That's what you're going to do. Let alone closing the borders down. You're starting another war. I'm making assumptions because Joy Reid, I don't think she is a fan of Joe Biden either. I believe she probably want Nikki Haley in place or Kamala Harris to take her place. But it's a hot mic. And it says this happened. The liberal MSNBC host Joy Reid cursed live on air in explicit hot mic moment, seemingly targeting President Biden during Monday's installment of the Reid Out. The F-bomb was dropped. You know, Joy Reid might lose her job for this F-bomb statement, or she's going to come back and apologize. They're going to make her apologize. I think her ratings are dropping in the Reid Out. So she might have one foot on the door, the other foot on the banana peel anyway. She's going down the same path as Don Lemon and all the other real extremists, MSNBC people that want to cry racism all the time on everything. And Don Lemon, was Don Lemon on MSNBC? I can't even remember. It was so long ago. He was fired. He was literally fired like 3 months ago, and I still can't remember what network he worked on. Anyway, it says she slammed the GOP obstruction of the immigration bill being mulled behind the scenes for the sake of Donald Trump. You know, she's Joy Reid is something else. Okay. So Reid could be heard saying this, chuckling with her audio was immediately cut. Cutting back to mid-sentence, she then appeared to accuse Trump of still trying to kill the deal. Well, Trump is not in office, so how can he kill anything? I mean, people might say, oh, Trump has a lot of power, but he's not in office. He's not in office. How is he trying to kill anything? If anything, Joe Biden has all the power to initiate the border closing. And like someone said, I think it was Joy Reid on her readout, they have been trying to do, the border has been messed up for the last 2 to 3 decades. They haven't passed nothing in Congress, no legislation for the border. They haven't enacted no legislation for the border. It's always been the president doing something, acting executive, putting in an executive order in place to secure the borders. So why can't President Biden do that? I mean, shame on Congress. They should be able to do it. But since they can't come into agreement, you're just like, oh, if I'm not going to get that money for Ukraine and Israel and the Palestine, you're not going to shut down the border. You're just going to make the American people suffer, and you're going to pout. Now, remember, you guys, I don't know how long you've been following me. Oil reserves. Usually, I don't know if let me just look it up, a quick look up. U.S. oil reserves. Back in July, I believe. Yeah, it's still back in July. Let me just share this. This is just Department of Energy. The U.S. oil reserves is needed. Why is oil reserves needed? Because if we go into some type of war, of course, one of the things that, since we don't produce the majority of our oil, we're not the producers of what our consumption is at. We have to depend on all these foreign countries to give us oil. Okay, so usually we have like a 720 million barrels. 720 million barrels. Well, the authorized capacity is 714 million barrels for things like this, like a time of war, so we won't get starved out. Okay, so but right now we've depleted our oil. We're at a measly 346 million barrels of oil. That's 17-day supply. 17 days. So I had to get back into it. I used to because I know it's not Venezuela no more. We're not getting none from them. So it's probably Iraq. We probably get some from Africa somewhere, and some other countries. But if we want to, let me just put U.S. oil supply chart. We have so many enemies out there. We could just starve ourselves on oil. That's with that Keystone pipeline that they decided not to do. We're shooting ourselves in the foot. So when we're saying, hey, we need to secure energy, Green Deal, blah, blah, blah. And then we're still shipping in supply from all these foreign entities, that we're just shooting ourselves in the foot. We need to become more independent from our these foreign suppliers. But what was I getting at? If we go to war, we don't have enough in our oil reserve. We just don't have enough. So it's going to cause a domino effect to a lot of other things that's in the U.S. economy. So we just need to put that out there. Joe Biden, this guy, right now, he has a bag over his head. He's saying, if I don't see it, it doesn't exist. And we can't have a president like that. I'm sorry. He's like in La La Land. He's really in La La Land. Anyway, you guys put in the comment. Let me know what you think. One last thing. Joy Reid, MSNBC, all these liberal people, they don't like Joe Biden. Reason why Joe Biden allegedly got elected. If you don't believe the election was stolen, I'm not going to get into that. But if you don't believe the election was stolen, if you believe the election in 2020 was free and fair, Joe Biden actually won. Reason why Joe Biden actually won is because they thought Trump was just the worst person in the nation. Okay, so Trump is bad. Joe Biden is not good, but he's better than Trump. So Trump was right here. Joe Biden was about right here. Okay, that's where we're gonna put Joe Biden. Not really good, but he's a little bit better than. He's a little bit less racist than Donald Trump. That's what they're saying. Oh, Joe Biden, you ain't black if you don't vote for me. But anyway, so Joe Biden said his shoe-in in the election was every black woman was telling him, you better elect a black vice president. You better, instead of saying, hey, elect somebody that could do the job. No, black woman, we were on his heels. Like that job, that spot better go to a black woman. Why? And I'm not to say Kamala Harris wasn't prepared for it or didn't have the background for it. I'm not saying that, but we put that in the atmosphere saying you better elect a Kamala Harris. Now all these liberal people are mad at you. Even the people that put Joe Biden in office. These liberal black women, they're mad as hell because of the Palestinian situation, because they want to cease fire and you're not doing it. They believe that the Palestinians is in an open air prison because, everybody has to have some type of trauma to them. So they believe, they're black or brown skinned people or downtrodden people. So we should stand with those people too. Black people, stop doing that. Okay. Especially black women. Stop doing that. Because if you go over to Palestine, they going to say, oh, you're American and we going to shoot your ass. They don't like you. But I was on a rant. Okay. So the very same people that put Joe Biden in office because they elected Kamala Harris, I found this article on Time today. On the Time. It's titled, Biden owes the country a new vice president. They don't even like Kamala Harris. You got all these liberals, they joined forces to get Trump out of office, and they just was so mad at Trump derangement syndrome, that they elected somebody that is not even qualified to run for office. And I'm not speaking about Kamala Harris. I'm talking about Joe Biden. Joe Biden does not have the mental capacity to run for office. Anyway, let me just go back to the part. So, they're talking about his age, blah, blah, blah. I just want to get to the part when they're talking about Kamala Harris. It says, this brings me to the matter of Biden's vice presidential choice. Kamala Harris, the current holder of the post, shares with Henry Wallace progressive values and a proclivity to verbal infelicities. There are no indications that she would be soft on Russia or otherwise swerve, as Donald Trump has, from mainstream American foreign policy tenets. But neither are there indications that she has developed over her 3 years in the White House any strong, recognizable convictions on America's role in the world, or how Washington should exercise global leadership. Equally importantly, she has struggled mightily to move the public on any aspect of policy, even those policies such as civil rights and immigration. Remember, I told you, she's been absent. We could look throughout all presidencies and say most vice presidents, you don't really hear from them. We could say that, but we can say if they do hear from them, they're in these foreign countries, talking with foreign dignitaries, seeing how they could work together. One thing I do remember, and you guys might not remember this, over the summer, Kamala Harris, with her crazy ass, visit Africa. And you know what she told them? Hey, we'll give you humanitarian aid if you change, if you make an announcement saying we will accept the LGBTQ community. We will legalize it because, remember, one of the countries in Africa, they voted to make it illegal for you to be LGBT, to show that in public. They made it illegal. And she wanted them to change their law. Hey, we'll give you, she tried to bribe them. We'll give you some money if you change this law. They have cobalt mines in Africa. Cobalt mines. Your iPhone, that's why that really piss me off. The iPhone and I have an iPhone. The iPhone that you have, the transistors, they're made out of cobalt. Or some of the parts, like the semiconductors, is made out of cobalt. They have kids over in Africa digging by hand for cobalt. All the things that Africa is experiencing right now, human trafficking, genocide. You come to me and say, hey, we'll give you money about some damn sexual preferences. A slap in the face. And I guess he was the prime minister or whatever. He came out and put this video out on social media and blasted Kamala Harris for doing that. Like we got so many other stuff that we need to worry about. And you're talking about a sexual preference that does not move the needle. This is what they said in this Time post. Okay. Equally importantly, she has struggled mightily to move the public on any aspect of policies, even those policies such as civil rights and immigration, on which she has taken an active interest or prominent role, while Republicans, most notably Donald Trump, have leveled and will continue to level at ad hominem attacks and unsubstantiated charges against Harris. They will be amply justified in making her presence on the ticket a major campaign issue. They're basically saying she hasn't grown as a leader. We don't know what she stands for. All we know is that this administration stands for how you feel. How do you feel on the inside? Do you feel like a bird? Do you feel like a Tweety Bird? Do you feel like Donald Duck? That's all we know. Oh, how we feel. Equity, diversity, equity, and inclusion. We want to include you in these spaces, in these atmosphere. Well, if we don't have a space to go to, what's the inclusion about? What are we saying here? We're going down this, like I said, this administration, I said Joe Biden, this administration has a bag over their head and it's raining shit. And they feel like if I don't take this bag off, what's smushy on my foot? That must be mud. No, it's shit. It's shit. Kamala Harris and Joe Biden, you're stepping in shit. That's smushy on your foot. But they're saying, oh, it's not raining shit. Oh, this bag is perfectly fine. Oh, what's the smell? Oh, it's nothing. Oh, I don't smell anything. It's shit. It's raining shit. And that's what they're saying in the Times. They don't even want Kamala Harris as VP. And it's sad. I'm pretty sure this was an opinionated article. Let me see who wrote it. Ben Steele. Steele is a senior fellow and director of international economics at the Council on Foreign Relations and the author of most recently, The World That Wasn't, Henry Wallace, and the Fate of the American Century. Okay, so they don't want Joe Biden. Joy Reid just dropped the F-bomb on Joe Biden on her hot mic. And then they put a long post in the Times for everyone to read. That's the first thing that came up, by the way. Not the conflict in Jordan or the drone strike. This was the first thing that came up. I just typed in Joe Biden. It's on Google search. First thing that came up when I was searching. How they don't want Biden owes the country a new vice president. Anyway, you guys let me know what you think about that. Let me know what you think about that. I'm going to go to some of your charts. You know what? I'm tongue-tied today. Go ahead. We got Kenneth, the DJ. What's up, Kennard, the DJ? Splecia, Chawanne's on fire. Hopefully I'll stay on fire. Dwayne Manziel, I'm behind and catching up at 1.25. May God bless our military. Please bless our military. Pete Byron, Biden said he wants to get rid of fossil fuels and go to electric solar. That's going to hurt us the most. Yes, you're absolutely right. Why do we have fossil fuels that we can't tap into it ourselves? We got to depend on these foreign countries to give us energy. That's very asinine. That doesn't even make any sense. You're going to stop people from working. Like Vivek Ramaswamy, frack drill, what do you say? Pipeline, whatever, frack drill, and something else he always says. Basically, you're stopping the supply of plenty natural resources that the U.S. has, and we don't want to tap into those resources. We want to just say, oh, we need zero CO2 carbon emissions. What does that make? That doesn't even make any sense. We need to be net zero. And then, have you noticed, if you put in, type in the air flight, Google air flight, plane, whatever, type it in Google. Now they got this damn sheet, a spreadsheet, how many carbon emissions it emit from here to there. Oh, I'm going to take this flight because there's less emissions. Like, no, you're not going to look at the emissions. You're going to look at the price. Like, this is how fruity people are. Oh, I'm trying to be socially, environmental responsible. I'm going to take this flight because it's less CO2 emissions. And it's like 10, or not even 10. It's probably 1 kilowatt or 1 kilojoule less than whatever per pound. I think that's how emissions is calculated. But anyway, this crazy stuff. Okay, Splecia, U.S. first, always. If they ain't talking about U.S. first, then we need to put their asses out. We don't need to elect them. My theory, Trump disrupted world order wars. Exactly. Pandemic created. Voting rules changed. Exactly. You're absolutely right. Lamar Copeland, I will always believe they stole it. All you had to do is watch the election returns live. Exactly. They got this one lady on this, I think this was in Georgia, where she was ballot dumping. Like, where are you getting all these ballots from? You dumping mass buckets of mail-in ballots on midnight, the night of the election. And they got her on a camera. She looking around and she dumped 3 or 4 baskets in the drop-in mail-in bucket. It's like, what are we saying here? And then you expect people saying, oh, our election is free and fair. Then I just read a post. Those Dominion machines, there had problems in Dominion machines. I think it was like in Minnesota or somewhere, where they wanted to do an audit on a few of the machines because it was coming up wonky, and they wouldn't even let them evaluate it. They only let them evaluate the thumb drive, and they couldn't take the thumb drive. They could just inspect the outside of the thumb drive. Now, if you know anything about computers, how can I tell if a thumb drive is not working or something skewed just by looking at the thumb drive? No, you usually have to plug it into the computer to see, oh, maybe the coding is wrong. It didn't say this drive is corrupted, blah, blah, blah. But you can't see that just looking at it. So just a lot of crazy stuff that's been going on. Dwayne Mazzell, for Joy Reid, it's hard to cheer for your team when they are always fumbling the ball. Yes, it is very hard. And Pete Bryan says armament industries was overstocked. Trump had to go. Construction, destruction, scam is back. Exactly. In Africa, Cal, in Africa culture, they was asked, why are you gay? Why are you gay? Yeah, that video cracks me up. I think I had that video saved somewhere. Chawanne Burns, you talked about Illinois pulling Biden Trump off the Illinois ballot. I don't think I talked about Illinois. I think it was Colorado or somewhere. I think they was talking about in Michigan. They can't do it in Michigan. Michigan, we kind of crazy up here. They won't be able to do that. So anyway, Trump had won Georgia with 98% reporting. Yeah, and then it switched miraculously. Like we went to bed with Trump winning, then we woke up, oh, Biden's the president. That's like the craziest shit ever. It was crazy. I was like, for real? Like I couldn't believe it. Anyway, it was unreal. I didn't think Joe Biden was going to win, really. Anyway, so let's get to Cori Bush. Cori Bush is in the hot seat again. Well, she's always been in the hot seat. I've talked about her all the time last year because I couldn't understand. You want to defund the police, get rid of police protection for all the citizens of St. Louis. All the while you have $1 million police force to protect you. It doesn't make any sense. This is totally ludicrous. And she wants to tell people, hey, would you rather me die? This is Cori Bush. Would you rather me die? So that's why she is saying, hey, I have to spend this money. I have to spend this money on my protection detail because my life is I have so much work to do. My life is really important, more important than yours. That's why I want to defund the police. But I need police protection. I need private security on my detail. And why are you complaining? Because I'm in the office getting things done. You know, I'm in Capitol Hill trying to make sure we have equity in these racist bills that you're creating. I need to vote against them because all your bills are racist. You guys, I don't know if you remember me talking about that because that's Cori Bush. This is what she says. She doesn't make any sense half of the time. Let me just pull this up. I just need to close some of these tabs. So this is this Cori Bush? No. This is Cori Bush under Justice Department investigation over alleged misuse of
spicy. Yeah, Vitsiak picks up additional outs. An ace or a 10 on the river would have
misuse of alleged security funds. And the probe is related to the allegations of security money being spent improperly. And the sources said the subpoena announcements was read on the House floor Monday, and the sources said that it's related to the investigation into Bush. Remember a few months back, her husband was confronted. Now, this is them reading.
He lays before the House a communication.
The subpoena or.
The Honorable the Speaker, House of Representatives, sir. This is to notify you formally, pursuant to Rule 8 of the Rules of the House of Representatives, that the office of the Sergeant at Arms for the House of Representatives has been served with a grand jury subpoena for documents issued by the U.S. Department of Justice. After consulting with the Office of General Counsel, I have determined that compliance with the subpoena is consistent with the rights and privileges of the House. Signed sincerely, William P. McFarland, Sergeant at Arms of the House of Representatives.
So that's just a subpoena of, they're trying to
Spicy.
record
To
comply with the Department of Justice. But remember when Cori Bush's husband, now this is where it gets into the weeds. I don't know why women, and I wouldn't just say black women, because it was a few white women that's in office that hold some type of position, dibbling dabbling with their subordinates. Okay, I don't understand. You can't find somebody else to date? Or how about you just don't need to get involved with anyone if you can't keep it under wraps? But so she decided to marry the man. So I'm not going to knock it. He proposed and they decided to get married. Okay, but he was working for you. And now that he's working for you, you're paying him X amount of dollars. And so they're looking into that as well. Okay, but she has around the clock security, and he was questioned about, I guess it was.
Spicy. Vinciak picks up additional outs. An ace or a 10 on the river would eliminate.
He was questioned about his the thousands of cash he received over her campaign. And this is them. You didn't answer the question. So he's basically saying I wasn't with the campaign, or I don't have a role in the campaign, but I guess he probably misunderstood. No, I am still in the security. But anyway, so they stopped him. They stopped him to
campaign. Because they were reporting you had wages on the campaign for security, and then it was a general wage. I was just wondering what you've been doing on the campaign.
Yeah, I mean, you can Google what it is. You can also Google what happened with the ethics report, how it came back 5-0, that it was all completely above board.
So you're not doing any more work with the campaign, her campaign?
I'm not doing work with the campaign. Obviously, I am. I'm still employed, right?
Yeah, you're still a part of it?
Am I still employed with it?
Yeah.
Yes. So obviously, I'm doing work with it. So I mean, what's the whole? This got you like?
No.
I'm not a politician, man. So ask me a question, man to man, and I'll answer. So what's your question?
That was it. About the campaign.
I'm still in the campaign. I'm still in security with the campaign.
Okay. Gotcha.
Have a good night, man.
Thank you.
So basically, I'm assuming that he was confused of what the guy was asking him. But anyway, this is the whole thing. You are claiming that you want to defund the police. You're a big proponent of defunding the police. All the while you're spending taxpayers' dollars, hundreds and thousands of dollars on your own security detail. To me, it doesn't make any sense. That is hypocritical. It's very hypocritical of you to tell your citizens of St. Louis, Missouri, oh, I don't want you guys to have police protection, but I need police protection. I need private security because I'm more important than you. This one last clip I want to show to you guys. One last clip. And this is Cori Bush. And I felt kind of like, what is she talking about? It was like really embarrassing. Now, this is just a quick snippet of what they're talking about on her. They put money, sex, relationship scandal. It's not really a sex or relationship scandal. I think it's just about the money. Okay. They're making it sex and relationship. I don't think it's about sex. I mean, she's not flying. Well, you can't even say that. So it might be about sex because I didn't even know she got married. They got married in secret, but she's married now, so it doesn't matter.
Far-left Democrat squad member Cori Bush of Missouri is now under federal investigation for misusing federal security money. Bush has spent more than $750,000 on private security since she was elected in 2020. Now, remember, these are the same people who defunded the police, but then had to have private security. A watchdog has also demanded that the Federal Election Committee investigate $62,000 of that money that Bush paid to her now husband. He was her boyfriend back then. She hired him to be a security guard from her campaign account. You may remember Congresswoman Bush, one of the big proponents of defunding the police in 2020. I mention it again because look how much she spent to make sure she certainly didn't defund her protection. This breaking news now.
So they're talking about that. Okay. Now this is really what I wanted to share with you. Where is she? This is when Cori Bush, can you see? Okay. Cori Bush, the Department of Justice is conducting a criminal investigation into Democrat Cori Bush for misusing money for private security. Gee, who could have seen this coming? Everybody knew this was coming. They were having a field day back in August when they found out that this lady spent $627,000 on security. And it says Representative Bush campaign may have made payments for services that were unnecessary or above fair market value because her personal relationship with the payee. Fact, Executive Director Kendra Arnold said in a complaint. The funds in question allegedly went to her now husband, who she claimed was private security. Below is Bush telling Americans to suck it up while arguing defunding the police while increasing their own private security. She also has no idea how taxes work. You guys, this is an old clip, and I need to warn you. You're literally going to be like, she's my age. It's like, you don't know how taxes work. And that means if you don't know how taxes work, have you really paid taxes? Have you even had a job in your life? Have you even, like when you start as a child, you know, working at McDonald's or somewhere or at the school, and then build your way up to a career. And you see how gradually your taxes increase because how gradually your income increase. And then you be like, what the hell? Like when I got my engineering job, I was like, damn, they taking a whole bunch of money out of taxes for it. And when you don't have any kids, so she's had kids. She had 2 children back to back, okay, at a very young age. So she was young when she had kids. So maybe she was taking care, took advantage of that earned income credit. So she didn't really know what taxes were because all her taxes got back to her. But for a person didn't have kids and then they gradually their income increased, you're like sticker shock of how much money they take out of taxes. You be like, oh, they taking out more taxes. Like you never catch up. The more you make, the more taxes. And this lady, like I said, I'm warning you, you're going to be triggered, especially if you are a taxpaying citizen. You're going to be like, you dumb. Anyway, I'll just play it for you. So I'll let you.
I'm going to make sure I have security because I know I have had attempts on my life and I have too much work to do. There are too many people that need help right now for me to allow that. So if I end up spending $200,000, if I spend $10 more on it, you know what? I get to be here to do the work. So suck it up, and defunding the police has to happen. We need to defund the police and put that money into social safety.
The wealthy should pay their fair share.
Yes, wealthy should pay their.
She told everybody to suck it up. Tell that to the person that called 911 and 911 did respond because they didn't have enough dispatchers online because you defund the police. Or they responded and they said, oh, we'll get out to you as soon as we can, and they never show up. That's a lot of times in these inner cities, that's what happens. When they misappropriate funds. Now you're talking about defunding the police. Not only you're misappropriating funds, you don't even have no funds to hire individuals to respond to calls. So tell those to the people that were assaulted or was a victim of crime and the police didn't show up. Suck it up. That's what you're telling them, to suck it up. Now, Tyler, I believe this is Tyler King. It was on some news channel. It looks like Fox, maybe St. Louis news channel. This is special. I commend him because he's trying to walk through with her the way taxes work. And she had no clue.
What is a fair share? What percentage?
So you're saying that you're saying that they're paying their fair share is what you're saying?
No, I'm asking what percentage is a fair share?
Their fair share, the same. If a third of my money is going to taxes, then I think a third of their money should be going to taxes. Well, it does.
Look at her.
I'm trying to understand because you realize the effective tax rate on the poor is less than it is on the rich, right?
Okay, so first of all,
I'm not poor.
I'm not the poor. I'm very close to that line, but I'm not the poor.
Okay, so
that's not what he said. This is why a public school system. Now she's like I said, she's my age, a little bit older than me. She went to an inner city school. What's inner city school? She was like, first of all, I'm not poor. That's not what he said, ma'am. Ma'am, he did not say he was poor. I'm first of all, I'm not poor. No, he's talking about the effective tax rates of your income. Like, hello, if you make less income, your tax rate is less than a person that makes more income. Their tax rate is higher, and she doesn't understand the tax rate. So this was classic.
So the effective tax rate.
Let me just rewind it because she was like, first of all, I'm not poor. That's not what I said.
I'm not the poor.
That's right.
Okay, so first of all, I'm not the poor. I'm very close to that line, but I'm not the poor.
Okay, so
But
the
we're
effective
also
tax
talking
rate
about-
the effective tax rate on the middle class is less than it is on the rich, correct? What fair share would you like to change the tax rate to on the wealthiest what percentage of Americans so it's a fair share?
So let's say the wealthy 1% could pay, let's say if they paid, let's just give them 45%.
It cut off. She just throwing numbers out there. The problem with this is she regurgitated some information that, like it's a liberal talking point, but so she didn't really do any due diligence to study, okay, actually what amount of taxes do we receive from a person's or individuals that's making over a certain dollar amount, okay, and what amount of taxes do we receive from a person's that's making this under or less than this dollar amount. Okay, so she didn't do that research, so she just throwing numbers out there. And then, the pauses and the attack, like you thought he was personally attacking you because he was just asking. He was like literally trying to understand, why do you think that these people that make over a certain amount of money, they pay less taxes than you? Actually, they pay more taxes than you. Now, if you're saying some of these corporations get away with not paying taxes, yeah, they probably do. But look how many jobs they create. They have to have some incentives of creating jobs. They create jobs and they have to have some type of incentives of being a US-based company. So what more do you want? And so if they get a tax break on here and there, that's fine. Because you're double taxing them anyway. You're literally double taxing them. Anyway, we could go more into that. But Cori Bush, she didn't do her research. And I think they said Cori Bush for 2018. So that was what? 8 years ago. 8 years ago. She was in her 40s then still. We're 39 and you don't know nothing about taxes. That's a problem. That is a problem. We need to stop hiring people because they got these social justice causes. No, you need to know how taxes work, because effectively you're going to be making laws in that state for me saying, hey, you don't understand taxes. I mean, you don't need to be the smartest one about taxes. And we didn't say you need to be an accountant, but you do need to know how tax work. But anyway, so that was Cori Bush. Cori Bush is under investigation, and let's see how
I'm going to make sure I have security because I know
fares out in this. Some people are saying it's a sex scandal. I don't think it's a sex scandal. I think it's just she's misusing funds, campaign funds. It would be a sex scandal if he was married. Now, if we find out he was married while she was working, now that would be interesting. She stole somebody, man. That would be interesting. He filed for a divorce the day after he got hired, just like Nathan Wade, this guy. All right, you guys, that was it for today's episode of Business Talks. I really appreciate every single last one of you. Okay. Lamar Copeland says she's what happened when single black woman raises children on welfare. Exactly. She don't know how taxes work. I couldn't believe she got elected. Once I started reading about her, I was like, dang, she was a single mama, and she didn't make really good choices because she got pregnant. And then she said 4 or 5 months later, she was pregnant again. Like, what kind of woman is this? And you don't got no daddies for these babies? Like, you got pregnant. You just got pregnant again. No consequences or nothing. You like, oh, I'll just be on welfare. But anyway, that's who we got in office. Okay. Children need to see their parents pay bills on time and pay taxes. This is what I'll show you guys tomorrow. Let me see if I can find it. There's a money book. If you got young kids, let me see if I can find it. It was like an investing book. I think anything that talks about financial literacy for kids, I think it's a really good book, because you're absolutely right. Kids need to see financial book for kids. I don't see it on here. But if you type in financial literacy for kids, I don't see the one I have, but they have plenty of them out here. The one I have, I bought it from our book fair at our school. And it's a financial literacy book for kids. It literally talks about taxation. It talks about corporations. It talks about banks. It talks about insurance. It talks about everything that you need to know about finances. Even business finance. It has it all, and it explains, it's bite-sized pieces. An 8-year-old could understand it, because my 8-year-old reads it, you know. And then we sit down and talk about it. Then we talk about, because we give them allowance if they do whatever they're supposed to do. We give them a weekly allowance. They have a check account with a debit card. I make them, hey, you're responsible saving 50% of this money. And I don't allow them to spend all the money that they have to spend. I just like, okay, what you need to plan out. What are you going to spend your money on? We're not spending your money to zero. Then I have them, like, if they want to buy something, hey, what are the taxes on that? So now, like my son, he knows percentages now. Now he knows how to calculate how much he should really be giving me. You know, if you want to buy an add-on game to his gaming system. Okay, if it says $10.99, you need to add the 6% in taxes, or 6.5% in taxes. And that's what you owe me. So it's really important to teach your kids financial literacy, because you end up like Cori Bush. Cori Bush. Come on, do you know? I'm surprised. I'm wondering if someone would bring up taxes to her. If someone will actually talk about taxes to her, and to see if she will give us the same answers that she did 8 years ago or 7 years ago, because I will be very shocked. I would be very shocked if she didn't spend any time to say, oh my God, that was a bad, horrible moment on public television. Let me go back and read up on taxes so I won't make a butt out of myself again. Anyway, so that was it for today. You guys, like I said, thank you for tuning in. We're going to be at it again tomorrow at 1:30. So I will see you tomorrow at 1:30. I'm sending all my good to you. I will talk to you soon.